Hello everyone, today's lesson is looking at the electromagnetic spectrum. Now the electromagnetic spectrum are a series of transverse waves that transfer energy from a source to an absorber. Now the electromagnetic waves, they form a continuous spectrum which span a range of frequencies, and what we're going to look at today is the names of these waves and their properties. So what we have in front of us is a diagram representing our transverse waves. The boxes here we will fill in with the names of the electromagnetic waves. Now if we start at this end, first one is radio waves, then we have microwaves, infrared, visible light, ultraviolet, X-ray and gamma rays. Okay, now we need to know that order of electromagnetic waves in that sequence, and there's a mnemonic that we can use to help us remember that order. So it is remember my instructions, visible under X-ray glasses. Now there are a number of different mnemonics that you can use to remember that. This is just one, and obviously the first letter of each of those words, remember my instructions, that corresponds to the first letter of the electromagnetic wave. So radio waves, microwaves and infrared. So that's the first thing we need to look at, is the order. Then what we need to look at is the properties. Now as I said before, what we have here is a diagram of a transverse wave. Now as we move along this order, you'll notice that the first thing we'll look at is the wavelength. The wavelength gets shorter as you move down this series. So at this end we have a high wavelength, and at this end we have a short wavelength. In fact, I'm going to change that to longer. Okay, then here, because we have a longer wavelength, we have a lower frequency, and then as we move down the sequence of waves we get to a higher frequency. So gamma rays, for example, they have the shortest wavelength but they have the highest frequency, and then as we move up this way, radio waves, they have the longest wavelength and the lowest frequency. The last thing I'm just going to mention is about energy. So if we have a longer wavelength and a lower frequency, we will have a lower energy. And then again, as we move down towards this end, gamma rays will have the highest energy.